Sreesankar, Head Institutional Equities at Prabhudas. Lilladher joins me now. Sri, thanks so much for joining us. I'm not too sure whether you cover SKS Microfinance, but it's been an interesting play of a stock running up on the hopes of a license, falling, and now seeing a bit of a comeback. What's your take on this?
No, we don't cover that company too many.
Okay, that's indicative enough. But let's talk about the Nifty right now. Sri, what is interesting is some of the beaten down stocks, again, seeing some bit of a comeback. You talk about stocks like Hindalco, NMDC. What's the sense that you're getting? What is the direction that we are taking in the markets?
Again, I think after the 17th, the markets probably is looking for a direction. Probably it's expecting that what are we going to see? When are we going to see a rate hike? Kind of a question. So I would think that the markets will move sideways to a great extent, and unless something decisive in terms of growth aspects in the emerging markets or a direction starts to come out. So my best estimate is we probably would see a market more of a range-bound movement here or there, without which will be more directionless for quite some time, at least in the near term, till the time we see the quarterly results start to flow in. And once the quarterly results starts to come in, probably from the Indian context, you start to see companies moving in line with which way the performance is and which way the direction of the commentary is. That's what we think will happen to the market to a great extent.
Okay, fair enough. But I'm going to ask you, the next big trigger that the market seem to be watching out for, Sri, is the rate cut. Has that been factored in? Because we've been relatively strong, irrespective of what the commentary has been globally.
See, the fact is, what are we looking for rate cuts? Probably if there has been a rate increase in the US, a rate cut here would have not been probably a great good news for the market per se. So what we expect today is, because there is an inflation level, the wholesale inflation being negative, retail inflation being at what, 3.48 or something around about, and the governor has gone on record as saying that probably they are looking at an inflation level to be under check at around 6%, etc. So all that points out to an environment where, and again, one of the reasons given by the US Fed for not hiking rates is in the inflation level in the US remaining low at around 0.2. And the reasoning for the low inflation is, again, the low commodity prices and low energy prices. So if you extrapolate those things into our system, now again, the low energy prices, low commodity prices is also aiding up, probably not to a large inflation or higher inflation going forward, which also makes the argument much stronger for a rate cut. So the market is, according to me, building in a rate cut scenario in the near term in India.
Okay, I was actually asking whether it's already been factored in. Of course, it is building one in, but the question is whether it's already factored in and whether there would be an event, impact. But I'm going to keep aside that question. I'm going to ask you what's happening in the power sector. We've got a whole bunch of the mid-cap power counters, including Torrent Power, Adani Power, all these stocks up, JSW Energy, Jayaprakash Associates. This is a bit of a re-rating that's happening in the power sector. Sri, how are you reading it?
No, I think the only way I look at it and say that the raw material prices have come down for many of these companies, because those who imports are at a much better scenario. And other than that, the market per se is seeing the beaten down sectors. You mentioned earlier about Hindalco, NMDC, etc. These kind of companies, which are beaten down, probably is showing you some relief rally at some point of time. I don't read much beyond those things right now.
Fair enough. Sri, thanks so much for joining us. That's a quick take on the